Welcome back to retirementnewsonline.com from our studios here in Scottsdale, Arizona. And today we're talking about estate planning, which is more than wills and documents. It's about avoiding costly emotional mistakes that can impact your family for decades. We'd like to avoid that. Joining me is Taylor Davis with HBW Advisory Services in Boise, Idaho. So Boise, Idaho, a great place. But anyway, we're talking about estate planning mistakes. When you talk to clients and we talk about estate planning, do you feel it's pretty common that they have no idea what they're I mean, especially if they're doing that themselves, what they're doing? And so give me an example of a costly mistake.
I think one mistake is that many people think they're just fine with a will.
Yeah.
Another one.
Aren't they? Come on.
No, they're not.
No, they're not. Okay.
Another one that we see a lot is younger couples, especially with kids, don't realize the importance of a trust.
Okay. And when you say trust, okay, that might be new for consumers who are watching this. A trust is really, it's a Swiss Army knife in many ways. It helps you avoid probate. It protects things in a number of different ways. But give us kind of an overview of how important a trust can be.
Trust is essentially what you can use to avoid probate, which is just the government getting involved with everything at the end of your life.
Yeah, but they're so good at stuff, aren't they?
Oh, they're wonderful.
Yeah,
we should let them do everything. But taking their cut, there's attorney's fees. Typically, probate can range anywhere from 5 to 15% of the cost or of the value of an estate.
It takes time too, doesn't it?
It does. It can take months. I've had some friends that had to deal with probate that took 18 months, 2 years before everything was settled. Whereas a trust bypasses all of that. And as I mentioned, one of the things that we see is younger couples with kids don't realize the importance of a trust. One of the issues that you have is if something happened to a husband and wife and they had children under the age of 18, whoever they go with is appointed by the family court. Mm-hmm. Whereas with a trust, you can name a guardian. Right. And it doesn't have to go through family court. Nobody gets a say in it. It's dictated by the trust.
Okay. And then, so we talk about probate and delays and the cost. One thing you have to avoid is family disputes. We don't want them arguing over grandma's spoon collection. And that's something, this sounds like it's more about communication, right, early on in the process. Would that be accurate?
It is. It is important, especially for older people creating a trust, to have a family discussion about it. A lot of people have different ideas on what's fair. If you have 2 or 3 kids and one's very well off, one's okay, and one is at lower income levels or something, should they get more money or not? Do you need to really give to the one that's well off? There's a lot of family dispute on it. So sitting down and having a conversation can help avoid all of that. Also, a will is part of a trust, mm-hmm. And so you can dictate where things go and who they go to in the will. It's part of your trust.
And the estate plan has to be flexible. And let's talk about beneficiary designations, because if you forget to update those when things happen, things can really go wrong at the end of the road, and somebody gets something that it wasn't intended for them to get.
Yeah, that's right. So with retirement accounts especially, you want to make sure that beneficiaries are updated. Even without a trust, something like an IRA or a 401k that has a beneficiary designated will bypass probate. But if you have a trust and you don't have a beneficiary listed, it doesn't mean it's automatically going to go to the trust. It's mm-hmm. potentially going to have to go through probate as well. Or
if you've, for example, you have a husband and you divorce him, and you forget to update the beneficiary designation, you get married again, and then when it comes time for things to move along, it just all goes to the ex-husband, and that could be a problem. That's probably happened.
Yeah, that has, stepchildren.
Yeah.
Or if you get divorced and you no longer have a relationship with them, if they were in there, then it can go to people that you don't want it to.
What is the one thing, for everybody watching right now, the most important thing they need to consider? And I assume is not to try to do this themselves, but probably get some support. But I may be wrong. What do you think?
Yeah, it's very difficult to create a trust on your own. Usually they involve attorneys, or with our company, we work with a team of attorneys to provide the trust and the estate plan. and we're able to make sure everything that needs to be in there is your medical directives, your financial directives, powers of attorney, and all of that. Doing it on your own, you're liable to miss something or have a trust that's not actually valid.
And I think it's accurate to say too, just because you're working with a financial firm and they develop a trust, they don't necessarily fund it. And sometimes those things get created and then they never get funded.
Yes, that's another good point. Another mistake that's common is not funding the trust. So, making sure your house is titled in the name of the trust, either making your bank account and then changing the name on your bank account to the name of the trust, or at least making it payable on death to the trust.
Yeah, and that can happen when you're working with an attorney. It's not necessarily their job. So, well, we appreciate your time, Taylor. I think you know what you're talking about. He's in Boise, Idaho, and it is HBW Advisory Services. And I think if you're thinking about estate planning, I think you've learned some things here today that are important to remember. But again, I think the one thing you want to take away is talk to somebody. You might even want to talk to Taylor. This is Retirement News Online at retirementnewsonline.com. Thanks for watching.